Okay, anyone who was listening intently at the previous video, those noises you heard in the background, that was Kevin and his friends going out for a game of soccer, and I think the game started in the living room. Just to say that there are no animals or children ever hurt in the making of these videos. And that being said, I've just changed it around a little bit just for the next bit. As you can see, I just launched the blue scene and the test layer with the green scene, and they just hold in position. And clear that now. I'll just show you that in the sequence here on the main layer. There's just 1 second delay, then we launch the blue scene, and then after a second we add the test layer, and the test layer then after 2 seconds will launch the green scene, and that's it. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you how we would send a message between the green scene all the way through to the blue scene. And really what I'm just showing you is how you communicate between the scenes and its parent layer, and a layer and its parent layer, and then between a layer and its scene, sort of thing. So to do that, I've already actually entered the code just to save me doing a lot of typing. So where this is going to start is when the green scene launches and the on open method is called. We'll have this action will run here. I'll just get it out of the way there. And the action is that there's a slight delay, and then it calls a function to its parent layer. Now every scene, you can't have a CC3 scene without a CC3 layer. So the thing to use here is self.cc3 layer. It will find this layer, and if the layer has a function called tell the main layer, then it will call that function. So the parent layer of this green scene is actually the test layer. So to make sure that it can see this function on the test layer, we would have to have a public declaration of the method, and that's tell the main layer. And then in the body of the implementation of it, we'll have to have a function tell the main layer, and how the test layer is going to tell its parent layer is just straightforward calling an action on the target self.parent, and that will be looking on the parent, which is the main layer, for this function tell the blue scene. Okay, so going back up along the family tree here, on the main layer we have to make sure that we have a publicly declared function tell the blue scene, and inside in it we make sure that tell the blue scene is available. That's down here. And now what we're doing here is the layer that holds the blue scene, the blue scene's parent layer, can be accessed just using the standard property function here, self.cc3 scene. And all we're going to do is call a function on the scene that the main layer holds, which is the blue scene, to change its background. Okay, so then on the blue scene we have a function publicly declared, change the background, and up at the top of it I've stuck it in there just before everything else, change the background. And I'm just going to stop that one for a sec. And all this is going to do is the background is already set to a blue background, so when I run this, the backdrop should be changed in color to a more, well, that's red, green, blue, it's a more reddy color anyway. I might take down the blue a bit on that to make it a bit more obvious. Okay, so if I run this, we should get the two scenes opening in their respective layers, and then the message should be passed through from the green scene right through to the blue scene. So the blue scene opens, the green scene opens, there's a delay, and then boom, message comes all the way through the hierarchy back in to the what was the blue layer. Okay, just cut out of that sec. Now what I want to do is show how you would send the message backwards, because there might be slight differences in the way they communicate. So what we're going to do is in this inside the blue scene, when we call the change background, After it changes its background color, I'm going to get it to run another action, which will just have a delay of 3 seconds after that background is changed. And then the blue scene is going to call its parent CC3 layer, which is the main layer, and it's going to tell it, going to get it to use its tell the test layer function. So back in the main layer, you may have noticed already that underneath I had a public declaration for tell the test layer, and in the main layer we can free that up by uncommenting it. So we have tell the test layer, and it says self run action. Okay, I've written that in a longhand here. What you really probably should do is CC3 layer. Just get a pointer to this. We'll call it test LYR, and we'll make it equal to this, which we'll cut and paste. So what we're doing here is we're getting on the main layer, we're getting its child by tag layer tag, and that will give us back a node, and we just have to let it know that we want to use it as what it is, which is a CC3 layer. So we cast it here, and then test layer becomes that appropriate CC3 layer. So in the target now, all we do is test layer, and we call the selector on that test layer, which is going to be tell the green scene. So going down to the test layer, we have tell the green scene, and we open that up and make sure it's available. And in tell the green scene, what we have is self-run action on the scene that the test layer is parent for, which is the standard way of setting the property for that particular layer, which is CC3 scene. And on that, we want that to change its background. And right back at the start in the green scene, we do have a change background. And right up at the top again, I think I put it in, and it all stops here, and basically it goes from what would be a green scene to which is more red ready kind of a scene. Okay, so what should happen now is that the initial action will happen, sending from the green scene all the way through the hierarchy to the red scene, or the blue scene, sorry. So the green scene, a couple of seconds later, it tells this to change its background, then there's a delay, and this tells this to change its background. So there you have it. That's how you communicate between scenes and layers. A couple of things to note about this is any purist programmers would probably curl in horror, because it is a bit, the programming here is a bit loose, because in the green scene, let's say at the start when we call the green scene to start this whole ball rolling. Where did I put that again? It's in the onOpen method. What you're doing really is you're calling to the layer, but you're not really specifying the layer. If tell the main layer isn't a function on the layer, this will compile and run the program. But when it gets to this point, it'll crash, because it'll say, you know, I've looked for this, there isn't one there, and I can't run it. So you'd probably have to build in some sort of protection. You might error checking or something like that, or I don't know, maybe at the start of the scene you'd probably have a pointer to its parent layer or something like that, so that you'd be absolutely sure that when you called that function it would be there. The thing is, this is an unusual sort of program in that you're communicating between scenes through layers and everything. The reality is that all you probably need is a communication between a scene and its layer, and a layer and its scene, because a fairly complicated CC3 program will just be a case of one layer running its one scene. Okay, I think I've battered that today. Just go through all that and look at it carefully, and you'll see how it works. And I think in the next one, which should be the last one about scenes and layers, I'll just do a bit of a wrap up, and we'll move on after that. Okay, good luck.